Welcome to Exploring Hyperspace Lanes. I'm Adam,
And I'm Josie.
and I forgot to tell this last week. Um, it happened to me in ShopRite last week, and it's the kind of thing where it's like I feel like I'm not the asshole in the situation, but I should have been. Um,
Okay.
so I'm assuming you're familiar with ShopRite as a store. It's a supermarket, a big chain supermarket. I don't like to go there because like the stuff
Is
I
it a
buy.
grocery store?
No, it's like like how would you define the difference between a grocery store and a supermarket?
Um, Supermarket carries like lots of stuff,
Oh, so like you would
and
consider like a
groceries
wall? Okay, well,
carry food items. And
this is interesting now, because this is not how we do things in New York. A supermarket for all of my life has been like what you would call a grocery store. What you seem to call a supermarket, we just call Walmart or Target, or like if we're gonna use a more generic term, like a big box store.
yeah, I mean, okay, I would classify those as that,
Okay,
as a
well,
supermarket.
a supermarket is what we call like a grocery, like what you would call a
Because it's super, it's got a lot of stuff.
like you have Stop and Shop there, right?
No, I don't think so. Not anymore.
Okay, well, it's basically a Stop and Shop because it's like I know that they have Stop and Shop in the Northeast, or in New England because it's on Family Guy all the time. Um, but it's
Family
like a
Guy's
Stop and
based out
Shop.
of Connecticut.
No, it's like outside of Boston
Yeah,
or Rhode Island. It's Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
But either way,
That's different.
that's still
That's a
New
lot more
England.
south than me.
No, it is, but still, it's like that's like it's like that, or like when you were living in Albany, like Price Chopper or Hannah. Either way, we're getting off topic here. Either way, it's a chain grocery store. They're
Oh,
regional.
Hannaford's?
Yes,
Hannaford's is a supermarket?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's I feel like I'm being dismissed, but yes, that is what we would consider a supermarket. Um,
Okay.
so I'm in that, and I don't usually go to them because they tend to be more expensive than just going to Walmart. And a lot of the crap I buy
Yeah.
is like mass-produced food, not really like, healthy. So like you can go to Walmart and get it. But I was on my way to the movies and I had to stop at the bank, and the bank was right there, so I went to ShopRite. And I go into ShopRite and I pick up a thing of Fruity Pebbles because it's great. And I go into the aisle to get a soda because I like to keep soda in my car for when I go to work. That way I don't go to 7-Eleven and buy soda on my break. So I go into the store and I go to grab a thing of cherry Coke. I don't know what it is about me that felt that the Coke vendor thought that this piece of information was needed, but he looks at me and goes, there's a handle on the side, right, to carry that? And I'm just like, yeah, it's not my first day on planet Earth.
The
I know
Coke
how to,
vendor?
yeah, the guy, because like in a supermarket, Coke is handled by the Coke rep who works for Coca-Cola. Like they do that. Like that's and like anytime you go to a supermarket or anything or any store and you buy Coke, like it's not like the store doesn't stock that. It's like, and am I blowing your mind right now about how this works?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so when you go to a supermarket and you buy Coke or Pepsi, those aren't handled by the store. There's like an outside representative who comes from Coke to merchandise and stock that.
Okay.
So the guy from Coke is in the aisle with
Yeah?
me. Yeah. Yeah.
The guy
The guy from Coke who
from
does the
Coke that's
merchandising.
hand stocking your supermarket.
Yeah. He's in the aisle with me. He looks at me as I'm going to grab a case of cherry Coke, and I'm pulling it off the shelf, and he looks at me and goes, there's a handle on the side to make it easier to carry. And at which point I'm like, yeah, I know that because I've bought a case of soda at some point in the past before. I know how this works. But I'm not rude about it. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. So I grab that. Then I go to grab a case of Mountain Dew because I like to have two different selections of soda in my car. So I grab the case of Mountain Dew, and as I'm leaning in to grab it, the case of Cherry Coke um rips, but not in the way where it would normally rip from the handle. Like it rips at the seams, so the box kind of like butterflies out like this, and then like all the soda's all over the floor. So I'm still holding the case, but all of the cans of soda are now all over the floor. So now, should I have been an asshole to this guy? Because I feel like the answer is yes. Because I feel like he
Um,
was setting me up for failure.
go like fall around.
Yeah, they all just like this is like what the case is. It kind of just does like this and opens up like that, and all of them just come out, and I'm
I
still
can't
holding the
actually see.
box.
Your bandwidth is low.
Oh, sorry. It's like it,
But
it opens up like a
did
butterfly.
any of the cans fall on the ground?
All of them. The
Did
entire
any
12
of the
pack.
cans fall on the ground?
All 12 of
All
them.
of them fell on the ground.
Yeah. I'm holding the empty box in my hand. Because it's not like you know how you grab the handle sometimes and sometimes the cardboard rips because it's flimsy cardboard? Like, no, this is I'm still holding it. It's all
Uh-huh.
intact. It's just butterflied out and
That's so embarrassing. How many people saw that?
there were like three people in the aisle, and I have not been back to that store since.
That's you can never go
No, I
back.
can't. No. No, never can go back. That's the general rule with this kind of thing. Like, I don't understand. Like, because the thing is too, it's like
You're banned from that supermarket. Oh my goodness.
as it's happening, I'm
Did you at
thinking
least did you like grab another case of it or did you just book it out of there?
I did grab another case. At this point, I was already committed, and I had stuff in my hand. I wasn't gonna just drop the other stuff and just walk out. So I did get another case and then go. But
I
I
would
was
have
like,
seriously considered it. Oh,
it's like
that's so funny.
this is the story of how you ended up moving to Europe and changing your name just to avoid embarrassment in the supermarket again. But no, I just saw that and
Oh,
like this happens to me, and I'm like, this guy knew this box was flimsy because there is no other reason why he would point out to me, by the way, you can hold it from the handle. Like, because it's such a weird thing that
no,
doesn't need to be explained.
think that that guy I had 100% it was all by happenstance and that guy like he left and he went, oh gosh, I told this guy to use the handle and he walked away and it just fucking busted.
Because it's not even like I got to another aisle and it happened. I got like
No, he
five
was
steps
just as
down the aisle,
embarrassed.
and he's
Oh
just
my,
staring at me, and I'm like, thanks, Dick. Like, can you at least like move a little more quickly
that's
to
not
like
his fault.
no, but it's like still, it's like if it was
It's not
me,
his
if it
fault.
was me, I'd be mortified. Like I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so
It
sorry. I didn't
was
know it was
you.
gonna do that. No, if I'm the guy who gives me the box and points out, like, by the way, you can hold it from the handle, and then you get 3 steps away and the entire thing explodes like someone shot it from behind. Like I would be like, oh my
No,
God, I'm so sorry.
I
Like,
would not. I wouldn't apologize.
oh no, I would have.
It's
Um
operator error,
I don't think it's
obviously.
operator error because it's like if it was operator error, if it ripped at the top around the
I'm
handle,
telling you, that has never happened to me before, but it's happened to you at least once.
what ripping the handle ripping? The handle didn't rip this time.
Yes. Yeah. And
And
you
then it's
have you
like
ever
I'm
dropped
carrying the
soda all over
sodas out,
the floor in the
and
grocery?
and I think that a lot of this comes down to the fact that I walked in. I'm like, I don't need a shopping cart. I can do this. I can just carry this shit. It's not a big deal. And then I'm walking out to my car and I'm carrying these things, and I'm like, watch my fucking luck. This one's gonna break. It's not gonna be in the store. It's gonna be in the parking lot, and they're all gonna explode all over the floor. Because like that was the saving grace. Like if they hit the ground and exploded and there was soda everywhere, I would have just left. I would have been like, nope, done. That's it. But they apparently they didn't explode. So I was like, all right, I
And then
can.
what did you report it to somebody? Did
The guy
anybody
was standing in
say
the aisle, so I was
anything?
like, he
Like
can figure this out. Like,
you didn't say anything.
no, I would just leave.
You just stopped.
I would leave, and I would seriously consider moving. Like, um,
So this guy, I'm just consider this from this guy's perspective. Like,
I did because the thing is, the entire way to the movie theater, I'm thinking about this because I'm like, this is
he
awful.
says he's he a guy come up and grab a coke, a pack of coke, and picks it up really fucking weird enough
No,
that he
I
feels
didn't
the
pick it
need
up
to tell you
weird.
that there's a handle.
There's see,
Hold
and I think that that's part of the
on,
problem.
my narrative's not done. And upon trying to behave human, this man that uses the handle busts the whole thing open.
Because
Then
that's
he
the
doesn't
thing
say
too.
anything
I think
and
you're right
just
about
walks
that.
off.
I think you're right about that. Where it's
You
like
looked
from
crazy.
his perspective, he saw someone who was so inept to the point where it's like this motherfucker doesn't know how to carry a case of soda, and then it was
Oh,
proven
that's so
correct by
funny.
getting 3 steps away and the entire thing exploding.
On top of it, your alien behavior of just walking away.
I, I, I didn't walk away. I would have walked away if they exploded and there was soda everywhere. I kind
Another
of
one
just stood there.
silently,
I just kind of stood
avoiding
there in
eye
silence,
contact, and
just
then
like,
walked
what the
away.
fuck? You're right about avoiding eye contact. I did go out of my way to not look at
But
anyone
you
as I'm
didn't
standing
say
there.
anything, and then you just walked away.
No, I figured he's standing in the fucking and no. Again, I would have done that if it exploded everywhere all over the floor. This
Saying you
didn't.
looked crazy to this guy.
I don't understand. Well, because like that's the thing is, it's like it's not like I went to the top one on like a display and I'm grabbing it and I'm like trying to like hold it between my legs or some other bullshit to like carry this case of soda like I'm in some kind of race in a fucking like company picnic. Like no, it's
Your
on the
side of the
shelf.
story is not nearly as funny as the delivery guy's side of the story.
Because it's like it's you know how when they put soda on the shelf in the thing, they stack it up so that way you can't get it out without pulling it out first. And then you gotta find the handle. You put your hand through the handle and you pull it out from there. Like there is an order of operations to this that I have perfected over the years because I've been buying soda for so long. And the fact that he looked at me as I'm starting the process and pulling it out, that he's like,
And he
"You're
looked at
doing
you
it
and
wrong."
said, "This fucking idiot really
Exactly.
needs
Exactly.
direction. He needs help. That man needs
It's
help."
like he looked at me like, "Oh, I guess the bus from the Head
That's what
Injury
he was
Association's
doing.
here." Like,
Yes.
yes, it's
Yeah,
just
this guy he feels like he had the weirdest interaction today.
yeah,
That day.
yeah, and it's like you know what?
He went
I
home
think
and he
he
oh
he told whoever he's like, guess what this guy did. I think you know what? I think he didn't
no,
even think
no, he
about it
went
after that.
no, I think he thought about it but didn't say anything because he was like, people are crazy.
See, that's the thing too. It's like the shop right I was at was not in the best area either. Where it's like I don't like the only reason I went to it is because it's between me and the theater. Like if it wasn't between me and the movie theater, I wouldn't have gone to that one. But that's why I went there, and it's also next to a bank, and there's a Target right there too. Um, which I because the trip to ShopRite took so much longer than it needed to, I didn't even go to Target. Because I needed to, but I ended up not going. But yeah, it was a fiasco, and I think that I'm in the right on this. Um, so before we get into the Star
I
Wars
wouldn't
stuff,
I wouldn't say that there's a right or a wrong to any of it.
but you're wrong.
I think it's just fucking hilarious. It's just a good story. There's
There's
no right or wrong.
there's no right or wrong. It's just you're wrong.
No, no. There's no right or wrong. It was just a good story. That's one that you should tell people about.
Well, that's what this is.
This like an icebreaker when you meet new people.
Yeah. By the way, some guy looked at me and thought I was so stupid that I don't know how to carry a case of soda. How are you doing today?
No, come on, you should be able to write better than that.
No, well, so we'll hold off on the on Nick Cannon announcing he doesn't pull out until another day because I had an entire bit on that. But if you're strapped for time, we can hold off on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Sorry.
yeah, that was a headline yesterday. I'm gonna do. It's like Nick Cannon. It's up to God if I have more kids, and it's like, or you can just pull out. Like there are plenty of other options here that isn't just like roll the dice every time. Anyway, and we'll hold off on the Secret Empire stuff too. That's another Star Wars thing. or Hidden Empire. Secret Empire is a Marvel thing. Hidden Empire, which is the Star Wars comic thing. And I want to get a little bit more information about that before we dive into it. But Dooku Jedi Lost, which is what we will be covering today. Do you have thoughts on Dooku Jedi Lost?
Give 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 a recap of it.
Okay, so Dooku Jedi Lost is an audiobook, exclusively an audiobook, written by Cavan Scott, who currently writes comics for Marvel. It came out in 2019 from Random House. And I know it sounds like I'm reading the Wikipedia. Well, get ready. It is a story of what caused Count Dooku to join the Jedi Order and then leave the Jedi Order. Not leave the Jedi Order and become Darth Tyrannus, just him joining the Jedi Order, his disillusionment with the Jedi Order, and then his leaving to go back and become the Count of Sereno. Um, so it's like this would be before or during and before Tales of the Jedi, the show on Disney Plus, which showed his disillusionment with the Jedi and then his turn to the dark side. Do you have any thoughts?
I like this book.
It is really good.
It's super good.
Um,
Um, the
I'm a
first time
fan
I
of these
listened
full
to it, I was
staffers.
on
Go ahead.
hmm?
I said, go ahead.
Oh, um, the first time that I listened to it, I remember thinking that it was very good. Um, it fills a lot of like plot holes and gives a lot of explanations to different things that are canon now. Um, and it provides a good like gateway to a lot of different things that they've shown happening.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. What's so funny? I've said it before. I think that the expanded universe content works best when it's serving to expand understanding of things that we already know happened within the Star Wars universe, not specifically just telling the what's it called, not specifically just telling us more stories that don't have too much to do, which there is plenty of. Um, I think that this, first of all, I love the full cast thing. I wish they would do that more. Unfortunately, the only other one that they've done recently was not as good. In the case of Tempest Runner, which was a High Republic one that they did a few years ago or last year. That one wasn't as good. It was a little more confusing. This one, I think, handles it very well. Um, Now maybe you'll know this better than me, but is this what recanonizes Asajj Ventress? Or was she
Mm,
reestablished in Clone Wars, the TV show?
I think she was reestablished in Clone Wars, the TV show.
Okay.
Because yeah,
Because she was in the 2D micro series Clone Wars. Um,
yeah,
but
she
she
was
is
definitely in Clone
the
Wars
3D one.
first.
That is canon.
Because Dooku only came
2019.
out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, no, I guess I haven't finished Clone Wars. I've seen most of it, or a lot of it, I should say, and a lot of it out of order. I just didn't know if
Mm,
she appeared in it or not.
she
So I guess
does.
yeah. So she, yeah, she's always a fun character to have, even if she is kind of just in the like the book ending, or it's the what's it called, the framing device of the book is him talking to her and about his past. Um, I like the relationship between him and his sister. I think that's a really interesting way to explore why he does what he does. And especially going into what's happened this year in what was that other one? In the Bad Batch. I think that it does a lot to what's it called? To establish what his role was more concretely than it was in the what's it called? In the movies.
What?
Well, like Dooku's role in the world in the movies. If we go strictly based on the
Oh,
movies, it's like he's kind of just a guy. He was at one point a Jedi, but then he had fallen, and we don't know anything about that. It's just we kind of just gotta take the
right.
movie's word for it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this, even more so than the Clone Wars TV show or anything else, really adds a lot of color to his character in the same way that the Bad Batch kind of adds shades to it in so much as this is what all of his sacrifices amounted to, in that he's just
Hmm.
scapegoated for the entire Clone Wars.
Yes, I like that it starts from like the very beginning of his training
Yes.
too, as a Jedi.
And that's the thing
And
too, is I
it's
wish
not
we had
like,
more of
oh, we're
that.
just cutting into the middle.
Like
You wish that there was more of him younger?
no, not him specifically, but I think just some of my favorite of the new canon stuff has been immediately before the prequels, exploring that world. Like Claudia Gray's Master and
Mm-hmm.
Apprentice is really cool with that, where
Mm-hmm.
it's an Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon story before the prequels start. Tales of the Jedi has a lot of stuff before and
Oh.
during episode one. Um,
Hmm.
like this is a lot of it is before the prequels. Did you notice, by the way, and this is my only real complaint about it, the guy, everyone does like a younger version of the character they're playing, except for whoever's
Mm-hmm.
voicing Qui-Gon, who's doing Liam Neeson, but like he's supposed to be 10 years old, but it's just a Liam Neeson
Yes.
impression. And I'm like, it's a little
Yes.
jarring.
Yes, I agree. Some of the voices are a little funky in it, and so maybe the audible or the audio recording of it is not great.
Well, I think the audio recording is definitely the way to experience this because it's a script book, and I'm not going to sit here and say that you shouldn't buy script books, especially as I'm trying to sell several of my own. If you go to multipleworldproductions.com, you can buy them. So I'm not going to say don't buy script books, but mine are not available as an audiobook with a full cast recording. This is. So I would say definitely get this as like an audible version, or I think the first time I did it, I got it through Libby, through my library. So I got it
Oh.
like for free with that. Which if you don't have Libby and you like audiobooks, I would definitely recommend that. It's pretty cool. You just need a library card. I'm assuming you have a library card.
Hmm. My library, my local library is probably the size of my bedroom,
Your local library is also
and
only
my
accessible by
bedroom's pretty
dog
small.
sled. Not funny. All right, I try to be funny.
It's wrong region.
I don't know. I've always said you're north of the Arctic Circle up there. So
Now, if you'd said like only accessible by cross country skiing,
okay, well yeah, that's
sure.
true. If you were in Alaska, then it'd be dog sled.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so let's. I think that like and the other thing this book does that's really interesting is kind of flesh out Sifo Dyas, which is something that has never been done, to my knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
as a character. And it's like Sifo Dyas is a character that is kind of all the proof you need that, like, while Lucas did take a lot from like Heir to the Empire and stuff like that, um he had options in Heir to the Empire for characters to use. Like he could have made Sabayoth. He could have made Sifo Dyas Sabayoth, but he didn't. Which would have been a valid option for, for that, but he only did what he wanted to, which he has is within his right to do as the person who owns the property. Um, but I think that like that was kind of the thing where I'm like, it this character, and I think that that was my only other issue was him being this empath. I was like, I don't think we really need Cephodius to be an empath, to the degree that he is in this
Mm-hmm.
book. Um, or he's not really an empath; he's more of a clairvoyant, and it's like, but why though? Like,
Because that's always how he's been portrayed.
has he?
Yes.
When else was he portrayed like that?
And they make comments to it every once in a while in different like books and stuff.
Oh, okay. Um, I also appreciated like I like the development of that relationship. It just on the one hand, doing that relationship makes sense. On the other hand, I still feel like the way it's portrayed, the point at which Dooku masquerades as Sifo Dyas is kind of weird because it's like when he does that, he's not fully on the dark side yet. Like
Okay.
without getting into Tales of the Jedi too deeply, it's like when he does that and he deletes Camino from the records during episode one, he's not fully with the dark side. And he's not fully with the dark side until episode two. Well, after that, when he kills Yaddle.
Okay.
So it feels weird that it's like, all right, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna steal the identity of my best friend, and we're gonna move on from there. Just don't think about it too hard. Um,
Well, I don't know. It seemed logical with everything that was going on. I didn't find that to be odd.
and by the way, do you know where Sifo Dyas's name came from?
Where?
It was a typo because what happened was in the original script for Attack of the Clones, the Jedi Master who was going to do it was supposed to be Sido Dyas, Sidodys. Um, there
Hmm.
was a typo in the script that was Sifodys. So it's supposed to be like the Jedi Master Sido Dyas. It's like, oh, it's Darth Sidious, and it's like it's a good thing they changed it because that's really fucking stupid. Like if it's like, so someone named Sidious,
That's funny.
like so that's why it's Sifo in the movies. Um, but I don't know. It's just that character has always been kind of like I don't know, it's gotten stuck in my craw a little bit because it's a character we know nothing about in the movie. Like I've not like
Hmm.
so inherently it has an uphill battle for me because it's like I don't care about this character to begin with. Um, because why should I? Like he is allegedly a Jedi Master, but it's not even like he was in episode one. Where it's like if they just used a character who was in episode one, it's like, oh, it's Yaddle. That would have been as impactful in episode two. Now here they're trying to flesh it out a little bit more, which is again using the expanded universe to try and correct Lucas's mistakes, but still. But besides that, I think the book is really good. I think it's probably one of my favorite of the canon era books. Um, because like, is there a
I
book you
like
can
it.
think of that's
I
better
think
than
it's
this?
definitely. I was just thinking about whether or not because just what we have so far. Um,
There's a lot,
no, no, no. I mean, well, yeah, I can think of books that are better than it.
really. Like what?
Um, the Bane series.
No, no, no.
I
Canon
think it's
books.
better.
Canon books.
Oh, 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 yeah, the canon books. No, it's probably the better of the canon books.
Because I really
I
don't. I'm,
think
I'm not a.
it's
We'll
I
get
think
into
it's pretty
Thrawn.
close with Kenobi, but it's
Kenobi's not canon
probably
either.
much better than Kenobi.
Kenobi's not canon though.
Kenobi's
Um,
not canon.
nope. It was right before. It's like that and Plagueis are
Fuck.
right before the cutoff.
Oh, okay. Then no,
Because like I would put it in terms
you're
of
right. It is better.
because it's like I wasn't a huge fan of any of the six Thrawn books that have been done since the new thing, like the new three Thrawn books and then the three Thrawn Ascendancies. I wasn't a huge fan of, and the High Republic.
Hmm.
I think I'm not super stoked about either. Like they do some cool things in the High Republic, but I don't think it's necessarily enough to say they're as good. But we'll get into that when we get into more stuff in a future date. So let's talk about ranking. So overall, our ranking is as follows. Number one, we have Empire Strikes Back. Number two, we have A New Hope. Number three, we have Kenobi, Under My Protest. Number four, we have The Bad Batch Episode One. And number five, and I stand by this, I don't understand how this is number five. Andor is number five somehow. So where do you think um Dooku goes in this list? Would you say it's better than Andor?
Uh, yes.
Would you say it's better than the Bad Batch season one?
Yeah.
Would you say it's better than Kenobi, the book?
No,
All right, so it's now
I
the new
wouldn't say
number
it's
four.
better than I could say it's pretty close though.
Well, I mean, because that's the thing is we have numbers, so we got to put it at a number. So it's better or worse than Kenobi. I would vote better than
Yeah.
Kenobi. Like I would vote better than
Would
Kenobi. That would be mine. But also in my ranking, I think that Kenobi is way too high. I've just been letting you have whatever you wanted on this. So Kenobi is way too high in my opinion. But yeah, 'cause I would put it. I would out of what we have so far, I would put it last.
Kenobi?
Yes.
That would make you wrong.
I think having it at number three or number four above, I think having either of them, having any of this above Andor, with the exception of the two movies, uh,
I think
puts it
Andor
wrong.
was not that good.
Yeah, I understand that. That's why I let you win on that, and I put Andor last.
You're so salty about it.
Dooku. So I'll put it at number four. How about that? Since you're adamant about Kenobi,
Okay.
that puts it also at number two in the books category. In the canon category, that puts it at number three. And I think that's it because we don't have it's not a Legends. So yeah. So right now our rankings are now as follows: number one, Empire Strikes Back; number two, A New Hope; number three, Kenobi Under My Protest; number four, Dooku Jedi Lost; number five, The Bad Batch Season One; and number six, Andor. We are eventually going to have to partition the list into like I would say tiers. Probably would probably make it easier after a certain point, but we
Okay.
can we can burn that bridge when we get to it. Um, so
Sounds
we have
good.
that.
Right when we get up to it, we're gonna burn it before we cross it.
Exactly. We're gonna see. I like burn the bridge when we get to it because it's like it implies that like we're gonna address the problem, but we are certainly gonna fuck it up when we do. Um. So
Mhm.
yeah. So um. In our next few episodes, what we have the next one is gonna be Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Now, to clarify for anyone listening and also for Josie, this is the Complete Saga game that came out on like the Xbox 360 and PS3, and I think it was even on PS2. It's that one, not the one that came out last year. This is the original
Okay.
Clone War, the original Complete Saga Lego Star Wars game. Then the week after that will be Return of the Jedi, which you are in for a fucking trip on, let me tell you. Um, which I think that like, and by the way, that is probably the funniest I've ever seen anyone eat. Like you put your head down like you're kind of ashamed of what you're doing, as if we
Because
didn't have a conversation.
I'm trying not to make a mess.
Oh, like you're also trying to
It's a
make it.
juicy orange.
You're also trying not to make it a point of conversation on the show, like the yogurt incident.
Yeah.
Um,
So thanks for that.
you're welcome. So Return of the Jedi is going to be a trip for you because you have never seen the special edition of that. So, oh boy. Then we have The Mandalorian season one the week after that. And then starting with books, we're going to start our Thrawn series. So we're going to go in release order. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Heir to the Empire. Then we're going to do what's the one after that? Heir to the Empire is first, then Dark Force Rising, then Last Command, then the two Hand of Thrawn books, then the three Thrawn Origins, then the three Ascendancy books. But for right now, the
Man, Matt,
next
you
one
give me way too much information. So many topics.
the next episode we're going to do on the 29th is going to be Heir to the Empire. That's the next book we're doing. So the next video game is Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. The next movie is Return of the Jedi. The next TV show is season one of The Mandalorian, and the next um, book is going to be Dark Heir to the Empire. Um,
Are the Lego Star Wars ones that we're gonna be talking about on the Switch?
I don't think so, but they are on Steam, and any toaster can run that game. 'Cause it's a PS2 game.
Okay.
If you have a smart TV, you can probably run it on there. It's a very low functionality game. Um, for those of you listening who are interested in anything else that's happening, we have the Bad Batch. I will be continuing coverage of the Bad Batch on Beware of Spoilers. And starting this week, I'll be covering season 3 of The Mandalorian, which comes back. This is the day this drops, March 1st. And we also have our continuing coverage of The Flash and The Last of Us until that show ends, and Gotham Knights when that starts. All of that, you can find any details or anything like that on multipleworldproductions.com/calendar, and the link is in the description. Do you have anything you want to add before we close out? Because you are on a time crunch, and we have 2 minutes until
Mm-hmm.
you're hard out.
So, what color would your lightsaber be?
Hmm. Um, Probably green, but like if possible, a darker green than the light green.
Why green?
I like green. It's my favorite color.
Oh, okay. Um, Mine would probably be
Yellow,
of
because you like Rye.
this side. I'd love it to be gold. That would be cool.
Oh, like Rye.
No,
Hers was gold.
no. Like that, like gold.
Oh, okay. Like a darker yellow that like I think in a lightsaber that would come off almost pitch colored though.
No, it comes out gold
So like what would be the
because it's a
options on this? Let's
lightsaber.
like orange, like I don't know, like the purple lightsaber is always cool to me. I always liked Mace Windu. But I think the green is kind of where I would go.
Hmm. Um.
Or
So,
that cool black one that Starkiller has if you find the holocron on top of the Death Star in Force
oh,
Awakens.
okay.
Like you remember that where
The
like if you
the
if you get to the
Mandalorian blade.
yes, but not like the flat like in Force Unleashed, Star Killer, you can find holocrons that have different lightsaber blades.
Oh
If you
yeah.
if you go to the top of the Death Star, the big room where the cannon is, if you go to the top of
Mm-hmm.
the room that will definitely give you cancer, there's a black lightsaber blade and a holocron up there.
Mm. Okay.
So maybe
Um.
that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so then I leave you with a joke.
Yes, you do.
Why is Yoda such a good gardener? He's got a green thumb.
I was looking for something
Boom.
more Star Wars specific. See, because the thing is, it's like I think we talked about this
And
last week. It
also,
becomes a point of pride where I'm like, I gotta figure this fucking out.
this is and why can't you count on him to pick up the tab?
Why?
He always comes up a little short. There you go.
All right. Well, on that note, Josie does have to go, and I would like to go get some Baskin Robbins, because I'm feeling like a milkshake tonight. Um,
That's a weird thing to feel like.
I
Good
feel like I
night.
want a milkshake.
Boom.
All
Not
right.
that you want one. You said that you felt like you were a milkshake.
That okay. That's not what I said. I said I feel like a milkshake. Not I feel like I am a milkshake.
Yeah, I know. You feel like a milkshake. I'm sorry. That's a weird thing to feel like.
Okay.
But
On
you
that
do
note,
you.
on that note, we will wrap up, and next week we will be back with what did we say it was? Oh, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. So until then, have a great rest of your week.
Bye.